Welcome back, crypto crowd, to another episode of Mad Adam's Mad Money with a special episode today. We are going to be setting up a masternode. So a special welcome to all my masternode brothers and sisters out there. Today we're going to be setting up a LightPayCoin masternode because I've recently acquired enough coin from my first masternode to be able to set up a second. So first things first, we need a server setup. I use Volter as my VPS provider. You can use whatever you like or prefer. I definitely recommend Volter, but as long as you're running a compatible operating system, it shouldn't much matter. LPC, which is the coin that we're going to be setting up, they recommend Ubuntu 16.04. So that's what we're going to be doing. So follow along and take notes, and let's build a masternode. All right, so let me adjust my mic. Forgive me. I want you all to be able to hear me clearly, and I don't want to have to turn to talk into it. Okay, so first thing, Volter.com. I've already got a masternode. You can see my first masternode set up here. It's really easy to set one up, so I'm just going to go through the steps here. This little plus button, deploy new server. We're going to deploy a new server. Yeah, New York's fine. The location shouldn't really much matter unless you prefer to run it out of a specific country or region. I'm going to keep that with New York, New Jersey. Ubuntu right here, 1604, as you can see. And server size. So masternode servers, they don't require a whole lot of processing power because all they're doing is processing blocks on and transactions on the blockchain. So the one CPU with 1 gig of memory is going to be enough. The bandwidth, you're not going to be using that much. I'll actually show you my first masternode and how much it's used over its lifetime, which hasn't been that long. So we're going to select the $5 a month, which when you're running a masternode is nothing because you can earn that much easily in one blockchain reward. We don't need any of this special stuff. I am going to give it a label, though. We're going to say masternode 2 _ LPC, just so that I know which one I'm looking at. And deploy now. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. See, it's installing. It's installing the operating system, and it'll get it boot up. It is a virtual server, so VPS is a virtual private server. So let's take a look at this server right here. So as you can see, it's only used about 5 gigs out of the terabyte of bandwidth that it's allocated. That is a small, tiny little fraction. So bandwidth is not a problem. CPU usage is not a problem. It's currently only using 7% of the virtual CPU. And the RAM is definitely enough. And so far, I've only used $2.70 worth of uptime on this VPS. And it's been running for... it doesn't say how long it's been running for, but I can pull that up on my wallet application. So let's go back to my servers, see how that one's doing. It's still installing. Okay, so we're going to bring that one up just to get some of the details. We have an IP address. Username is always going to be root on Volter because you're running as the root user. And the password. I don't need to show it to you. You don't even need to look at it. It's got a copy button right here. So you can copy it to your clipboard, paste it in your terminal, good to go. So first thing that we need to do is set up a new address in our wallet to put in the collateral for staking against this new masternode. Now I'll load up my LightPayCoin wallet here. There we go. As you can see, everything's active. I've got enough LPC in here for a whole nother node. And I was going to show you the uptime. Yep, so 14 days. That's about half a month. And as you can see on this server, I've used about half of the $5 that it costs for a month. So that is trucking along just dandy. And so this server is now running, so we can get that set up in a minute. But I want to get all my coins set up where they need to be. So first thing, we're going to set up a new wallet. So I have my first masternode address here, and this is where I was putting all of the transactions coming in so that I could stake them outside of my masternode address. I'm actually going to create a new one. So we're going to name this one masternode 2 and put an amount of 1,000 because that's how much that we're going to be transferring in there. And request payment. So it will pop up down here. We see masternode 2. So just double clicking that, it'll bring up all of the address information. We're not worried about that yet. We're going to go up here and go to preferences on LightPayCoin Core. Now we want to turn on these coin control features. So go to the main menu, go to preferences, go to wallet tab, enable coin control features. What does coin control features do? So that essentially allows you to control which coins come from and go to which address. So you'll see it in a second. So I'm going to send 1,000 coins from wherever they are in my wallet, whichever addresses they're spread across, and I'm going to condense them down into this new address so that there's just one transaction of exactly 1,000 coins in there. So let's do that. Send. Inputs. This is where I get to choose where those coins come from. So I'm going to select all, and you note that right here it will not let me select masternode 1, this 1,000 coins, because those are set aside and locked for a masternode. We're going to see another one of those as soon as we're done here. So this selects all the rest of the coins from all the rest of the transactions that I've had. So they're just kind of spread all over the place between different addresses and different transactions. So we're going to select them all and click OK. So you see we have 42 different coin inputs, and we have 1,044 LPC available out of all of those 42. We're going to condense them down to the new address. We need to copy this one. So copy address button, easy peasy, send. We are going to pay to that address, masternode 2. See, it pops up with the label right there because you've already put that label into an address in your address book. We're going to send it exactly 1,000 LPC. It's going to tack on a transaction fee. Now that's not going to get deducted from the 1,000. It's going to be appended to the 1,000. So don't worry about that. So when we send, it will aggregate all those disparate amounts of coins into one address, and then we can lock them into the new masternode that we're going to be setting up. So send. Now it does cost a little bit, but when you look at the amount of LPC that we're spending on this transaction, it is negligible. And I'm not actually sure where that fee goes to if you collect it yourself or not. But again, negligible, don't worry about it. You're going to be making tons more once you get your masternode up and running. So let's look at transactions. Payment to yourself. Look. Huh. Interesting. Now, oh, we just minted another staking reward. That's neat. So that is immature. It will become mature as soon as we get 51 confirmations, and then I'll put it into my staking address for staking. Now, we have the transaction. It is not completed yet. See, 1 of 6 recommended confirmations. So once that transaction matures, we can pull out the transaction information from it. So let's go ahead and set up our server. So what you're going to need is a terminal. If you've never used a terminal before, don't worry too much. If you're working on Windows, there's still terminals available. I recommend if you're running Windows, download and run PuTTY. That is the most lightweight, simple to use terminal application for Windows. Many will disagree with me, but it is pretty user friendly. I'm just going to use the macOS terminal application that comes standard. So we have our terminal. Now, here's our masternode number 2. We are going to copy the IP address, and in the terminal, excuse me, we're going to SSH into root at, paste the address. So what that's doing is we're going to be tunneling into that machine, that server, as the root user at its address. It's just like an email address. Think of it that way. User at domain. It's going to ask us, do we want to accept the security authentication stuff? Yes, we do. Now the password. Copy the password here. I'll never even have to look at it. Paste it into the terminal, enter, and we're in. Yay. Okay. So we are in our VPS. It's running Ubuntu, but it doesn't have any applications running for our masternode yet. So how do we set that up? Well, luckily, LightPayCoin has set up a really easy to use, user-friendly, it's maybe even idiot-proof script for installing your masternode. All you got to do is go to lightpaycoin.org, click on Masternode Guide, and right here, Masternode Fast Setup. Gasp, that's exactly what we want to do. Okay, so this is GitHub. Don't let it scare you. Scroll down a bit, and it's got this README with all of the directions. It's asking you to read me. So we're going to do a git clone. All this is doing is pulling down all of the files from this GitHub repository and downloading it locally to our VPS. So just copy that line, paste it right into your terminal. Oh, it just did a bunch of stuff. That's great. Now we're going to copy this line, paste it in here, hit enter. Okay. Copy the next. See, this is why it's so easy. You just copy, paste, enter. Huh. Okay, well now it's doing something. We're going to let that sit. Oh, look at that. It's doing stuff on its own. That's exactly what we want it to do. Okay, so now it's giving us instructions here. Desktop wallet setup. Open the desktop wallet. Transfer, yep, wait for 15 confirmations. Let's see if our transaction has matured. 3 of 6 recommended. It is not matured, so we're going to have to wait a bit. Okay, so I'm still waiting for my transaction to mature, but while we're waiting, the Masternode setup software has finished installing and it gave us a bunch of output. Now it just dumped this text on the screen. It's going to look like gobbledygook to a lot of you if you're not familiar with setting up masternodes, which I assume you're not, which is probably why you're watching this video, so follow along. We are going to copy paste all of this text into a text file for later retrieval. It is good to save off somewhere just in case you need this information. You might not, but if you do, it's best to have it there and it's not going to take up any space on your hard drive. So we are going to copy that and open up a text file. Any text editor will work. And paste it in. We're going to save this. I'm going to save it into documents as mn2_info. And saved. Okay. So the masternode is up and running. Got the ports all set up. Configuration file. And it gives you these right here. Now, these are commands that will run scripts to do things with the masternode software. So we've got start, stop, and status. So you can start the masternode. You can stop the masternode. You can actually replace start or stop with restart. If it's running, it will shut it down and restart it. But it's always safer to do a clean stop and then start rather than a restart. And status, it'll just tell you if it's running or not. So let me run this real quick and you can see an example of the output. Huzzah, it's running. That's wonderful. And this active right here, that's all you really need to worry about. We have an active running masternode configuration. Now, it's not an actual masternode because it has no collateral yet, but the software is running and it's connected to the network. That's good. So we have our IP and port number. This is important. Masternode private key. This is super important. Those are the two main things that we need. The IP and port numbers and the private key. We'll get to that. All right, so let's check our transaction. All right, we're back and it looks like the transaction has matured. We've got 8 confirmations. It says to wait for 15. I recommend you wait for 15, but in the spirit of scheduling and time, we're going to go ahead. Debug console. All right, so this is the console, just like your terminal window that you use to SSH into your VPS. This is a console window for all of the wallet stuff. So you'll see here, it says to open up the debug console and type in masternode outputs. So that gives us a bunch of data. Now, for those that know, this is organized in JSON format, and I've got two outputs here. Now, that's because I've got two different transactions of 1,000 coins in there, one for my first masternode, one for my second. Now, it just so happens that I know that this first one is for my first masternode. This one is for the transaction that we just completed. So I'm going to copy off this information here, just this block, and I'm going to open up the file that we pasted the masternode information in earlier, and I'm going to paste that at the bottom for reference. Save it. All right, so we have a transaction hash and an output ID. So we are going to go ahead and close the console window. Now this tells us to open the masternode configuration file and input all of this information. It's really easy to do. Don't let it scare you too much. So in LightPayCoin core, go to Tools, Open Masternode Configuration File. Now keep in mind some of these menu items might have slightly different names on different operating systems, but it should be in the same place. So this is going to open up in a text editor. So it opened up the masternode configuration file in my default text editor, and you see there's already a line here for my first masternode, and it's formatted in the way that it tells you: alias, address, private key, transaction hash, and output index. So we are going to do the same thing for the second masternode as I previously did for the first masternode. Keep in mind the alias is the name that you gave your address when you created it down here. So MN1, MN2, so we're going to type in MN2. I do not want to overwrite all of that. I don't want to lose my first masternode. All right, so this is our IP address and port number from the VPS that was given right here in the terminal. So that's in this file. We're going to pull it out right here and paste it in right there. This right here, if we consult the web page, we'll see that is the private key. That is also in this information. It is this long string right here. Just copy paste that right over. Make sure there's a space between. Add another space. We're going to grab the transaction hash. We're going to paste that in too. And space 1, because I know it has a transaction index, or an output index rather, of 1 right here. Now that's all set and good to go. So we're going to save that. We're going to close it so that we don't mistakenly edit it anymore. I'm going to close this as well because we don't need it anymore. Exit out of this. Now we're pretty much at this point done with the VPS. I'm going to leave the terminal window open, but the rest of what we're going to be doing is right here in the wallet. So in masternodes, you see we edited the configuration file, but we still only have one masternode. We have to go back into the debug console here. I'm going to clear all that out. Copy that, paste it here. Make sure it's the right alias if you're starting a second or multiple nodes. Huzzah! There it is. Huh. All right, folks, we're back. Sorry about that. I realized what I had done wrong. Actually, whenever you edit the masternode configuration file, the best thing to do is to restart the wallet application. And when you do that, if you go into the masternodes tab, now if you don't have a masternodes tab showing, don't panic. There's a way to make it appear. So you go up to the main menu, open up preferences, and over here on the wallets tab, there's a little check box here that says Show Masternodes tab. If that's not checked, check it. So mine's already showing. So when reloading the application, Masternode 2 showed up. So we can see here, it's got the right information in here, except the status is missing. So we're going to fix that. Now, we're going to rerun this command in the debug console, and we're actually going to get some stuff in it. So paste it in, make sure it reflects the right alias, and we're going to run it, and it's going to start the masternode. Result successful. Awesome. So what's next, folks? Well, guess what? That's it. So we have a masternode running, and we can see here, start missing. Yes. Okay. Oh, look, now it's enabled. So this timestamp here, so you can see masternode 1, it says it's been up for 14 days and 5 hours. This is still at 0 because it's still initializing. So give it some time, maybe up to an hour or 2 at most. If that doesn't change, restart your wallet application, but it will pick up. Now, one of the sad things is about LPC is that when you start a new masternode, you have to wait about 24 hours to get your first staking reward. A whole day. Well, keep in mind that with the current reward setup, you're still going to be pulling in somewhere about 25 coins a day. That's going to change over time. It's going to go up then back down. And if you have staking set up as well, you might get some staking rewards in there too. So a conservative estimate at this time is about 25 coins a day. So if you have to wait a day for those to come in, that's not a big deal. And with the way that Bitcoin is starting to rise again, we're getting back into the bull season, right? So alts and Bitcoin and everything, it's starting to go up a bit. All of these legit projects, even some illegitimate ones, they're all starting to rise. So if LPC stays at around $5 where it's at now, 25 coins is over $100. That's about $130 a day for just running the software. Can you afford the $5 for the server a month? Even if it was $5 a day, it would still be a deal, right? So it's running. I'm only spending pennies a day, if that, and it's generating income for me. So we're going to let this sit. We're going to let it initialize. We're going to let it run until we get the first staking reward or the first masternode reward, and then it'll all be golden. So I'm running 2 masternodes right now because I was able to earn enough coins off the first one, as well as buying some here and there on exchanges, to run a second node, which is amazing because now I have double the rewards coming in. So I'm going to average somewhere conservatively around 50 coins a day with my 2 nodes. Now, if we get back up to not our all-time high, but where I bought in for my first node at $10, and I'm making 50 coins a day conservatively, and we're at a conservative $10, that's 50 times 10, 500? $500 a day for running the application. All I got to do is run the server. That's, again, these things sound too good to be true, but keep in mind, you're providing a service. They set it up to reward people who provide the service, and it will balance out. It will balance out such that you'll receive masternode and staking rewards less frequently the more nodes that are running, and the reward amounts over time will go back down to a relative conservative amount. It's still going to be worth it though, because even if you're only making 20 coins a day on 2 nodes and the price is still only at $5, that's still $100 a day. That's still good money coming in for doing almost nothing. Now, yes, you need to put in an initial investment. Of course, I put in probably a higher investment than you're going to, because right now one masternode is worth less than $5,000. I spent $10,000 on my first masternode because the price at that time was $10 a coin. I'm not upset about that at all. I still haven't yet made back my initial investment, but I will, because I am accelerating my growth by running a second node. And I'm very bullish, and I feel very confident about where this project is going, at least until the end of the year. We'll see. They've got really good things lined up for the ATMs, and if they get that out of the workshop into the market, well, I have no idea what's going to happen then, but it's all going to be good. So I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions about setting up your masternode, please let me know. There is one more request for instruction that I was asked to give, and that is securing your wallet. This is very important. So imagine you have $10,000 worth of an investment, right? And you put it into an envelope, just a plain old white paper envelope, and you set it on your desk. And maybe you're making interest on that by just putting it on your desk, but it's just sitting there out in the open for anyone to just reach over and grab. Wouldn't you want to secure it somehow? I know I would. So it's best to password protect your wallet. Keep in mind, if you encrypt your wallet, which is what this is doing, if you encrypt your wallet and you lose your password, you have just lost all of your coins. It's as if you just erased your wallet. Do not lose your password. Save it off in a very secure place. Don't email it to yourself, because if your email gets hacked, it's the same as just leaving it on your desk, right? But save off the password in a very secure place. If you're as paranoid as I can be, you're going to want to erase all traces of it on a computer, make a hard copy by either writing it down or printing it out or something, and keep it somewhere safe. Now, if it's on paper, and it's only on paper, secure that paper. What if your house burns down and you lose that password? Again, screwed. So honestly, with things like private keys, if you're going to have a physical representation of it and only a physical representation, it's best to put it on steel, engrave it, so that it's fire safe, water safe, time safe, right? It's not really worth going through all that trouble. So just save it off somewhere in a secure location on your computer and you should be fine, right? So let's get to it. File, settings, here it is, encrypt wallet. Now mine's already encrypted, but what you're going to want to do is select encrypt wallet, and it's going to ask you for a password. Don't use your email address password. Don't use a standard password that you use everywhere else. Use something new and unique, something that you're never going to remember because you don't want to have to remember it. Because if you can remember it, then it's simple. Don't use a password management tool because that's remembering it for you. What I did is I went to a UUID generator. I generated a universal unique ID, which means that every time you click that button, it's going to generate a string like this that is 100% guaranteed unique and will never be generated again ever in the lifetime of the universe. So you take this string, you copy it. So you take that string, you save it off in your masternodes configuration file, the one that we put all this information in, all of that information rather. You save it off and you forget about it. But when you go into settings, encrypt wallet, you're going to see something like this. Only it's only going to ask for two fields, password, re-enter password. Click OK, and it's encrypted. Do not lose that password. The next thing you're going to want to do is overwrite all of your backups, because LightPayCoin Core, the wallet application, it does auto backups of your wallet. You want it to do this. You want it to do this because if something gets corrupted, you want to be able to recover all of your addresses, all of your private keys, and everything. Those backups are important. But if your wallet is not encrypted, those backups can be taken from just about anybody. So we just encrypted, we are going to backup wallet. And all this does is create a file that's saved off in some place, in some format. So just give it a unique name like Masternode 2 or LightPayCoin Core wallet backup or something. Save it somewhere secure, put it on a thumb drive or something, and you're good to go, right? So setting up Masternode, encrypt your wallet, back it up, and you're done. Just let it run, let it do its thing, and you'll be earning Masternode rewards in no time. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it was informative. Again, any questions, put them down below in the YouTube question area, comments, things. Share this with your friends if you want them to get involved in Masternodes or if you want them to get involved in LPC. You can see I've been running my Masternode for 14 days, and I've had a lot of Masternode rewards in those 14 days. You can see all these rewards, all of these. Now, not all of these coins are from a Masternode. You can see I transferred some in, I transferred some out, loaned some to friends, what's not, so forth. But the vast majority of them are from the Masternode, just running, just giving me coins. So it does generate income. And we can see over here on Masternodes Online that LPC is currently running. Let me refresh this to get a fresh number. It is currently running at just under $4.50. It's not a lot of money, but for each coin, and if you have 1,000 of them, that's $4,400, right? Now, that's how much it costs to get a Masternode running. But once you get a Masternode running, you will have another $4,400 worth of coins at this price. You'll have another 1,000 coins in approximately, let's see, 36 days. So in a little over a month, you will have enough coins to either A, repay your investment, or B, set up a second Masternode and accelerate repaying that initial investment, which is what I'm doing. So get on it, get your nodes running, and I'll see you in Discord. I'll see you on Telegram, wherever. Find me, talk to me. Let's chat. But for now, have a great day. Peace.